Nearly 90 years old, Jeannie Seely isn't interested in keeping quiet anymore. For decades, country music fans knew her as the smiling blonde wrapped in rhinestones, collecting standing ovations like clockwork. But behind the glamorous gowns and the Grand Ole Opry spotlights, Jeannie carried a secret, one she planned to bury with her. Until now. Something changed. A forgotten letter resurfaced. A name she'd worked hard to forget came back into her life. And suddenly, the woman who once held the Opry together with grit and sheer determination is speaking out about what nearly broke her. What happened backstage during that infamous power outage back in 1971? Why did she destroy one of her own stage dresses in the parking lot that same night? And why did the Opry erase any mention of what she saw in room 6B for over 50 years? The answer haunted her every day until today. Long before secrets and locked doors, before dresses burned and letters were written, Jeannie Seely was just a small-town girl with calloused fingers and a voice too big for her Pennsylvania hometown. Her father labored long shifts in the steel mills. Her mother sang hymns over the sound of scrubbing floors. There were no record deals, no agents knocking at their door. Just crackling country radio and a young girl who refused to stop dreaming. 16, Jeannie mailed off her first handwritten song lyrics to Nashville. No one replied. She kept writing anyway. By 21, she packed a single suitcase and her battered typewriter and headed south. She arrived in Tennessee nearly broke but not beaten. She worked temp jobs, slept wherever someone had space. And every night she sang in tiny bars where no one even clapped. Then, in a smoky roadside club one late night, everything changed. A man sitting alone at the back of the room heard her sing a song called Don't Touch Me. He handed her his business card. And within months, Jeannie's voice hit the airwaves. Fame came. Awards followed. Money too. But respect? That took longer. Jeannie didn't fit Nashville's mold. She wore short skirts, painted on eyeliner. She cracked jokes and spoke her mind. She didn't call a man sir unless he deserved it. Worst of all, she sang with conviction. Her songs weren't fragile heartbreaks. They were storms, desire, regret, power, guilt, all raw and unfiltered. When she first stepped onto the Opry's hallowed stage, they warned her plainly. No dancing. No cleavage. No talking back. She smiled politely and ignored every rule. Behind the curtains, the men who ran the Opry didn't know how to control her. Too talented to fire, too stubborn to manage. They boxed her into bad time slots, paired her with acts that undermined her, spread rumors loud enough for her to hear. But Jeannie kept showing up night after night until her name could no longer be denied. She made history as the first woman to regularly host the Grand Ole Opry. The audience applauded. Jeannie smiled. No one saw the cracks forming behind the scenes. 'Cause that same year everything changed. It was 1971, the night of the power outage. A storm cut electricity to half the building. Stage lights sputtered and backup generators kicked in. To the audience, nothing seemed wrong. But backstage, the air shifted. A stagehand pressed a folded note into Jeannie's hand. No message. No explanation. Just a time and a room number she'd never heard before, 6B. It wasn't listed on the official maps. It wasn't part of the usual dressing room corridors. She found it past storage closets and forgotten hallways. No nameplate, just an unmarked door with a brass handle. And from inside? Faint hum like static or breath. She stepped inside. A single lamp. A single chair. And a man waiting. He never gave his name. He didn't have to. Jeannie knew his type. One of the quiet bosses, the men who never appeared in press photos but held the real power. He looked her over, not with interest but with cold calculation. Then he asked her something. Jeannie never repeated that question. She said the answer didn't matter because it wasn't really a question. It was a warning. She walked out of that room 11 minutes later, ghost pale and silent, went straight to the parking lot, stripped off her blue rhinestone stage dress, the one she'd loved, and set it on fire. A janitor found her standing motionless beside the burning fabric, watching the flames consume it like it was a person. From that night forward, she never wore blue on stage again. Things changed after that. Subtly, then brutally. Her sets were shortened. Her introductions skipped. Whispers about her being difficult spread. A producer even bumped her from a Saturday show, giving her spot to a forgettable male newcomer who couldn't even remember his lines. She kept showing up anyway. And once, when fate crossed their paths, Jeannie confronted the man from room 6B in the hallway. He didn't flinch, just smiled and whispered 5 chilling words. "Careful, sweetheart. You're not untouchable." That night, Jeannie began locking her dressing room door. She also started writing letters. They weren't songs. They weren't diaries. They were records, typed carefully on onion skin paper with her old manual typewriter. Dated, signed, and hidden away in a shoebox beneath her bed, wrapped in a faded red scarf her mother had given her. She never told anyone the lock combination, not even her husband. To Jeannie, the box wasn't revenge. It was proof. Because one of the cruelest games the Opry played with its women was convincing them none of it was real. That they were too sensitive. Overreacting. Alone. Jeannie wasn't alone. She'd seen how they treated Dottie West before her death. Heard the whispers about Patsy. She wasn't just writing for herself. She was documenting the pattern. She never meant for anyone to read those letters. Until the fire. In 1991, her second home caught fire overnight. Her bedroom was destroyed, but somehow the shoebox survived. The scarf melted, but the letters remained intact. Sitting on her porch amid the ash, Jeannie opened that box for the first time in years. Reading her own words felt like reading someone else's life. Someone who'd been silenced, controlled, erased. She whispered to herself, "I wasn't crazy." That night, she made a promise. She wouldn't destroy the letters. She wouldn't hide them. She'd wait. For the right moment. That moment arrived when she turned 90. It was just after sunset. Jeannie was barefoot in her kitchen when the knock came. She wasn't expecting visitors. At her door stood a young woman, barely 30, nervous, clutching a folder to her chest. She said she was writing a thesis about forgotten women of country music. Jeannie nearly sent her away. Then the woman uttered 2 words that froze her. Room 6B. No one outside the Opry should have known that name. From the folder, the young woman produced a photocopy. One of Jeannie's letters. Not a forgery, a real scan dated June 15, 1971. A full account of Jeannie's second visit to room 6B, complete with names, threats, and one terrifying line. "If I speak of this again, I will be removed from the stage before I finish my next verse." Jeannie's blood ran cold. The letter had been misfiled in a locked closet within the Opry archives, hidden inside stage diagrams. Left behind by accident or by design. Jeannie asked why the young woman brought it to her. The answer? "Because I think they've done this to others. And I think they'll do it again." That night, Jeannie unlocked the old shoebox and reread every letter. And for the first time she knew her silence was over. 'Cause room 6B wasn't just a room. It was a system. And though the Opry tried to wall it off, to pretend it never existed, Jeannie remembers. She remembers the door, the rug, the water-stained ceiling. And now, at nearly 90, she's finally ready to let the world know the secrets weren't buried. They've just been waiting.